Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dahil mihi Anglican for each service left.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for crumb's sake.
All right, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. We are just getting set to join up in Idaho, where the Bryan Kohberger sentencing hearing is about to begin. Just getting all the buttons pushed here. I have to do a warm welcome to Fire Girl, handmade by Wendy. Fire Girl, congratulations on being first in chat today. It's a very important job today. I need to keep the internet running for all of us. We're depending on you. Thank you very much. We're going to be here for the first time in this trial. Mr. Kohberger featured as a thumbnail on the live stream. This is actually live stream. It's a still image put up by the court. This is not my image. I'm just going to show you this. This is a still image put up by the court, and Mr. Kohberger is featured on the cover of this hearing. One notable difference in this image: he's wearing street clothes. He will not be wearing street clothes when he appears in court today. So this is from a previous hearing. That this image was created. It will not be how he appears today. So we'll know when it goes live. This is a still image. When it goes live, we're going to see the jail outfit. But let's see. Let me take one more. I think I might just reroute this over to Top Mark Media so it's a better feed. Hold on one second. I actually got two different sources. Top Market Media is taking it from a different source, and I like this one better. It's cleaner. There we go. All right, we'll just stretch cables across the desk like we do. All right, in this hearing, I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, this is a sentencing hearing, and so what we expect is that at the end of this, Bryan Kohberger is going to be issued a little walking orders, and out he goes out to his permanent home, which will be in a prison. Somebody broke the seats. I'll fix those in just a second. Hang on one second. Let's see. They should be working again. Try that. Give it a try. It's just slow, and there's a lot of people here, so. There we go. They're kicking in. Let me add a camera here to Top Mark Media. We got this all set up. Let's see. Crim Paralegal says, I'm so disappointed in this plea hearing. He should have stood in front of the judge and said in his own words what he did. This is a problem. This is a problem that a lot of people have mentioned. As much as some people say, I don't want to know the details, I think the families have the right, if they wanted to know what happened, and that he should be compelled as part of his plea deal to at least provide that to the police. Whether or not the families want to hear it, or I don't know, it would go public. The families hear it, so it's a tough one either way. But the families are going to be giving impact statements, and it will be without knowing what happened to their child. They know what happened, but without knowing the details, or even the whys or the hows. A lot of questions surround regarding this, and it's been difficult. for them. But for those that have not been following this case, just a quick synopsis. It was in the early morning of November 15th in 2022. 4 University of Idaho students. We had Ethan Chapin, who was 20, Xana Kernodle, who was 20, Madison Mogen, who was 21, and Kaylee Goncalves, who was 21, or Goncalves, I believe it is, who was 21, were fatally stabbed in their off-campus home at that 1122 King Road address in Moscow, Idaho. This brutal quadruple homicide shocks the small town. Obviously, they were in panic. They hadn't seen a murder in that town since 2015. And Bryan Christopher Kohberger, or we know him as BK, a 28-year-old Ph.D. student in criminology at Washington State University in Pullman, was arrested on December 30th, 2022 in Pennsylvania. He's charged with the 4 counts of murder and 1 count of felony burglary. Gonzalez, thank you very much, Mr. Pancake. I always try to pronounce the C's when I shouldn't. This trial has taken a while to get to where we are. It's been a bit. And it's gone through a couple courtrooms. It did not start in this courthouse in Boise, where we are right now in Ada County. It started up in Moscow, in a very little courtroom in a courthouse that had never before seen the type of press and pressure that came with a high-profile murder like this. They were inundated. Their phones were overloaded. They struggled to just keep up the bare minimum with press conferences. And if you remember the first few days after this murder, they made many mistakes. And part of it was because they just hadn't set up an incident command for this type of situation before. There's a lot of information that came out that was contradictory. That one time they were saying, "Hey, there's no worry," another time they're like, "We think we know who it is," or we're gaining leads. How can you tell a community, "Don't be worried"? 4 young kids were murdered in their college dorm while they slept, but don't have no fear. We got this all in hand. We just don't know who did it yet. It was incredible. It was wild to watch that. Let me get 7 working here. Just 1 second. Running too many channels at the same time. So we'll get this one fixed. There it is. All right. I'm going to, I think I've muted me, right? There we go. All right. Court will resume shortly. That's what we're getting from court. Good morning. Welcome. Come on in. Take a seat. We're about to begin in about 9 minutes is what I'm showing. If the court begins on time, they've had a lot of prep for this, but I realize that security is a huge issue, and that's the number one concern on a hearing like this. And so that will probably take precedence. We might be a little bit late. Amy P. says, lock him up and throw away the key. Justice for Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie. 7 months, Amy. Thank you. Thank you very much for your support. That is awesome. I appreciate that. Carla Larson, member for 26 months, one of our OGs on the channel. Love and prayers for the families. I'm honestly so surprised BK pleaded out. Didn't think he would. They were fighting everything for so long. Carla, this is a fascinating point, because I remember vividly the hearing where defense was arguing with the judge just that they needed more time. This was going too fast. There's so much work they had to do. They talked about just the sheer number of documents they had. Hours of video. The terabytes of data, the pages, and they're like, we have to go through this. We owe this to our client. And there was some comment about guilt and innocence, and she made the comment that everyone on the defense team is basically 100% believes in their heart in his innocence, that this was not him. And that's a bold statement to make. considering the facts, with DNA and everything that's lined up against them. But they believe in his innocence. She must have been more surprised than anyone when he decided to take a plea deal and admitted to it, because apparently everyone thought they were innocent. Melissa Webb, justice for these four sweet souls. That will happen today. I think that will happen today. Thank you very much. 14 months. Thank you, Melissa, also for your support of the channel. Karen F., member for 22 months, another OG, says, woohoo, I've been busy, have not been able to watch. I missed y'all. Welcome in. We're about to begin. This will start quickly. It starts suddenly. We don't get much warm up. What we expect to have happen here, first of all, the gag order has been lifted, and so information is starting to come out, and that information is starting to paint a picture that shows it was even worse than we thought. Injuries to the face, possible gag involved, which would indicate a prolonged death, a time when the victim was involuntarily silenced prior to their death. That is coming out. It's starting to come out, and more will. Sadly, it will. But the judge has ruled that the gag order is lifted, which means the prosecutor and the defense and the families, everyone who is under the "you can't talk about it" rule, can now talk about what they know. The sealed documents have not been unsealed, and the people who have been lifted from the gag, or the gag order has been lifted from, cannot talk about the sealed documents either until the documents are unsealed. The judge will go through all the documents, starting with the most recent, and work his way backward. But he says he's not inclined to do that until after the appeal period ends for Bryan Kohberger, and he is allowed an appeal period. It's for very limited purposes, even though he took a plea saying, I waive my right to appeal. He is allowed to appeal if he decides to argue before an appellate court that he had ineffective assistance of counsel or something similar to that. It's probably not going to happen, but the judge is not taking any he's taking all precautions to make sure he does things right and doesn't ruin it for a retrial, if heaven forbid that was needed. Claire, member for 11 months, says, can't believe it's nearly a year. My heart goes out to the family. Still think it was the defense who was behind the leak, but love your opinion. The judge has ordered an investigation into the leak. The leak that went to the news, basically. He's not happy about the gag order being violated, and he wants to know where it came from. I think they will get to the root of that. I think regardless of this, the outcome of this case, which has now ended in an appeal, I don't see it going any other way now. It's basically too late for anything else. I think that investigation will continue, and the judge will hold people accountable. Judges don't like a couple things, right? They don't like people disrespecting the court process, and they don't like people disobeying their orders. They can put up with a lot of stuff, and we've seen judges who have the patience of saints, right? With just everything from pro se to just ignorant defendants before them. They have the patience. They'll talk and explain something that they have said thousands of times to people, and just take the time to do that. But when it comes to somebody who knows better, especially if somebody who's taken an oath, if it was a lawyer, if it was a law enforcement officer, somebody who's taken an oath, they should know better. And if they did violate one of these judges' orders and did it knowingly, I think there will be some ramifications there. Hey. Mrs. Ari just brought me a cookie and said, eat this to make sure it's okay. So I'm sorry, guys, but I have to, it's still warm. Oh, it smells delicious. Oh, look. Hang on. Okay. That is good. I'm sorry, guys. It's good.
Can I give it to other people?
No, you can't give them away. These are terrible. Save them. Yeah, you can give them away. Okay. They're delicious. My wife is a great cook. All right. I'm sorry. That was a terrible thing to do. Laura says, I need a wife. I need somebody who can cook for me. All right. I am spoiled rotten. I have the best wife in the world. She's amazing. As we get ready to go through this trial, I wanted to show you a couple things. We did anticipating that we would be watching this trial, and that we would be, hearing evidence, seeing evidence on the screen, as the judge was the one controlling the cameras. He doesn't allow any news in the courtroom, so he controls all the cameras. It's a Zoom feed, like we're going to see today. I wanted to answer some questions that I knew, some things that I was familiar with that would come up in court, and we did acquire a. Let's see if I can do a toolbox here. Just one second. Okay. Box 1 is going to be 2. Box 2 is going to be 1. Swap them around. There we go. All right, we'll go right here for a second. We did acquire a replica of the weapon that was allegedly used in this crime, and that was a K-bar knife. I'm going to focus this. The K-bar knife is important for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is a very distinctive knife. It's a very vicious-looking weapon. Okay, it's very similar to what you might see in a Rambo movie, right? We have here a plastic version, a copy of the knife, actual size. This is actually used for training. Police use it. Military use these type of things for training for hand-to-hand combat, where you don't have a risk of actually incapacitating or killing the person you're training with or against. This knife is massive. It is. I mean, look at this on. Depth-wise, you're looking at basically you can perforate an entire body with this knife. It's incredible as far as size goes. Some of these knives also have, depending on the make, they might have some like a very aggressive notching in them, which can be used to cut and rip through different things. And they also have what's called a blood groove down the side, which when stabbed into somebody creates a vacuum type situation, because you're stabbing into something where the knife gets narrower and creates a vacuum, and it creates suction, which forces the bleeding to start. It's a blood groove. It's a brutal knife, very effective at what it does, used for the military, I think back in Vietnam eras as well. But it wasn't just the knife that was important in this case. Also, the knife sheath is very important, because although the knife was never recovered, we only have the injuries that give us the indication that it was a K-bar knife. At the scene of the crime, they did recover a knife sheath, very similar, almost identical to this one. This is a U.S. Marine Corps K-bar leather knife sheath with the snap, and the snap here at the top is designed to securely hold the handle of the knife in place when it's worn, say like on a belt. So we'll put the knife in really quickly. And the idea is that the knife itself is sort of heavy. This is a plastic version, but it hangs out. See, watch this. It sort of flops around, and you don't want you don't want the knife to fall out when you're walking, and you don't want to get caught on something. So it has this snap that goes around the top of the handle that secures it up against your body, and also keeps the knife sort of flat against you. Makes it more comfortable. Makes it easy to run, and won't get hit, and won't get in the way. This snap is quite firm. It's designed to be tight around the knife blade, and it takes a little bit of force to pop that thing open. Well, the snap is also the area that they tested when they found the knife sheath at the crime scene. They tested it, and it tested positive for DNA. They tested the DNA, and the DNA matched the DNA that they found, or they grabbed from the garbage in Pennsylvania when they pretended to be garbage men, or worked with the garbage men. The FBI did, or law enforcement did, to test some of the garbage that was coming out of the Kohberger family home, and it matched, I believe, his dad. So they did a familial match on that, which basically puts Bryan Kohberger's DNA at the scene in a place where it should not be. And this is a huge, huge problem, one of the biggest problems in the case. So, just fascinating. I probably will be getting rid of this after this case. I only got that for that very purpose. It's just a demonstration, but that is that. Let's see. I've missed a couple. Oh my goodness! Look at this. Georgia Culture member for 30 months says, hey, RA and Mrs. RA, Recovery Addict, awesome mods. Good to have you all here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. 30 months of support. One of our OGs. All right, we're going to go. Let's go back to court, shall we? Are we in court 1? Oh, we're in court 2. There we are. All right, this is where we're going to go. We expect any second now. We're actually 3 minutes late for court to start. Probably security issues. Will you get BK to sign it? No. I will never, ever in my life get a convicted felon to sign something to sell. Now, possibly if somebody was vindicated, where they were found not guilty, that's different. But I just don't have any desire to be in that particular market. I just like understanding cases a little bit better, and sometimes having something in my hands like a taillight or a knife sheath is a little better. Is this supposed to run longer than a day? It's slotted for 1 day, but I think there was a brief mention in a previous hearing that it could go longer. But that was before they knew the length of time and the number of witnesses that wanted to speak. So I think we're pretty much just going to be a 1 day hearing. Let's see. All right, welcome, Eileen. I think they said BK will be on Zoom. He might be there in person. The entire proceeding will appear like a Zoom hearing for us. And here we go. He's there in person. Got it. Denise says front row by the window. We probably will be able to see her.
Chris, Your Honor, we need about 5 minutes.
Need 5 minutes?
So Mr. Kohberger is present. We've got a very close-up view, much closer than we've had before. Actually, this is, well, now they put us back in break. That's the closest we've ever seen Mr. Kohberger since he was arrested, basically, and transferred to court. The judge has really, so when the judge took over, the first judge ruled there would be no zooming in. He even told us that we could not zoom in on his video that he put out. Basically, all that means is make the pixels bigger. He had problems with what people were doing to the image, that they were editing the image, making him look like a bad guy or something else. We did that, I'll tell you that. We made his have the laser eyes at one point, and you can superimpose him over a jail. That's a First Amendment issue, Judge. That's why we did it, not because we wanted to do that. It's just for the sake of it. But the first judge had issues with it. The second judge lifted those restrictions, and which allowed us to do those things. But it's a much better view, and it looks like we have better audio as well. So they've asked for 5 minutes just briefly before they're ready, but you could see just briefly that the court was full, that there are a lot of people there waiting and watching and ready to go. So Kiki's Garden, thank you for gifting a membership. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Carla Larson, one of our OGs, just gifted 10 memberships. Carla, thank you. Absolutely amazing. Super support. Love the pooch and the profile pic as well. Congratulations to the gifted, to the giftees. Is that what it is? Katie Bug says, thanks for the coverage, RA. Best place to watch trials. Katie Bug, thanks for the kind words. Love that you're here with us, and love the number one on your number one in chat today. Thank you. I think. Ready? Oh, here we go.
All right, thank you. All right, this is CR 0124316665, State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, Ms. Barlow. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, Mr. Hurwitz, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Allen. This is the time set for sentencing in this case. The defendant previously entered a plea of guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. In exchange, the parties stipulated to recommend a sentence consisting of, on burglary, 10 years fixed, on each of the 4 counts, first-degree murder, life fixed. The parties waived pre-sentence investigation. To my understanding, neither party submitted a sentencing memorandum or other materials for the court. Court is familiar with the file and the evidence submitted previously by the parties as it has reviewed them throughout the case and in anticipation of trial. Is there any legal cause why sentence should not be imposed at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Does the state, before impact statements and arguments, wish to present evidence today?
Your Honor, the state does not intend to present evidence in a documentary sense. We have provided the court through the clerk with photographs that we would like to use during the course of our sentencing argument.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
But no testimony other than impact statements?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So with that, let's start with then impact statements.
Ms. Jennings will be introducing
And my understanding, just so I'm clear, I indicated through the trial court administrator that we need to see if any of the victims wish to have the camera not running and audio only. And my understanding is all of them indicated they are fine with the video. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, very well.
It's going to be brutal.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, the first, and we're taking these in the order, victim impact statements in the order that the charges were listed in the indictment. The first charge being burglary. So we will have Bethany Funke's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily Allant read that statement.
All right, any objection to that?
So Emily is reading Bethany's statement. It's awesome that she has a friend to support her here.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats. And make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache, so I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what had happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything, not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them? For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day. Even when I was just walking around my house, I made my parents close all the blinds during the day so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love. The fear never really leaves. For a long time, I could barely get out of bed, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not get the chance to keep living, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I will cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Now I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party, we were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day watching movies and snacking. Or when she, Maddie, and I would go and get margaritas, chips, and salsa. She would also light up a room with her presence alone. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile. And she was so kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. She loved playing little pranks. And she always had us laughing so hard that we could not breathe. She was so full of energy and life. I really believed that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to, and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone, and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included, and above all, loved and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I am beyond grateful that she chose me to be her sorority little, and I thank God every day that I not only got to know her, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them, or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time. And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind, and they will be in our hearts forever and always.
Amazing. Emily reading Bethany's message.
Convey to Bethany my appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Bryan Kohberger, who has sat motionless in every hearing.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Ms. Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Sure.
Bryan Kohberger has been motionless in almost every hearing, barely moving, almost looking like a statue. By comparison, he looks like he's having an epileptic fit as the emotion is being shown here, and he does not.
Dylan, just take your time, all right?
Know how to handle it.
Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice. He will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Dylan, thank you so much for your courage. I appreciate it.
Prosecutor moved to block Bryan Kohberger's view of her. That's why she sat there.
Next, we have members from the Madison Mogen family. First would be Scott Laramie, Madison Mogen's stepfather.
This is the most we've seen as far as emotion from Bryan Kohberger.
Standing by him is Karen Laramie, Madison's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Scott Laramie. I'm Maddie Mogen's stepfather and the husband of Maddie's mother, Karen Laramie. I will read this victim impact statement on behalf of Karen and myself. Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. Experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring about the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She excelled in school. She was an easy child to raise, almost never requiring discipline, and almost always giving us parental joy. One time Karen remembers disciplining Maddie as a little girl. Maddie responded, "You broke my heart," which of course melted ours. She had a keen wit, even at that young age. As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers. She showered us with her presence and love at family events, barbecues, picnics, birthdays, holidays, and others. She spent countless hours with her papa, her Uncle David, and Ayden, and her other close family and friends. This world was a better place with her in it. As she reached adulthood, Maddie applied her studies to be a marketing professional, entering into an internship at Payne West, and started planning her professional future. As with all things, she involved Karen and myself in the joy of her journey. As she transitioned into womanhood, Karen and I continued to be astounded at this wonderful and accomplished person we had created. All parents dream of their children accomplishing more than them. We realized this dream, all we had not become, she was becoming. Karen and I are ordinary people, but we lived extraordinary lives because we had Maddie. Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. She was taken along with the young, promising, and bright lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ayden. First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation. Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Gonzalez, Kernodal, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. But the vast emotional wound will never fully heal. Since Maddie's loss, there's emptiness in our hearts, home, and family, an endless void. After losing her mother in a car crash, Karen took years to grieve and recover. The feeling that her life with Maddie and A was perfect helped her to start to heal. Now, this is no longer perfect. After Maddie's loss, Karen felt like she was spinning out, emotionally collapsing into anxiety and depression. She sometimes asks, how am I supposed to go on when I've lost my favorite person in the world? I felt the same, and we continue to struggle. The loss of Maddie has impacted so many beyond our family. Her second family is her sorority sisters who grieve alongside us. She has so many close friends who suffer from her loss. We will continue to be, her loss will continue to be felt by the Vandal community, including Vandal Solutions on campus, where she volunteered her time for others. It helps us to know Maddie is in heaven now, freed from the trials of this earth. We, however, continue to live on without the grace and support of her presence. We will grow old without our only child, our bright, beautiful friend and daughter. In the end, there are no words that can accurately capture the devastation of losing Maddie. We will endure, and we will go on. For Maddie, we will not let our grief consume us. For Maddie, we will continue to love and care for our family and friends, including the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ayden. We will remain united with them. We can only hope that others out there suffering similar losses can look to us and see that we can overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. We know the law allows us to comment on the defendant and the sentence. As for a sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness. Evil has many faces, and we now know this, but evil does not deserve our time and attention. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. We will turn our time, talents, and attention to hope, healing, and helping others, and to the future. We invite all those who have suffered with us on this to join us in our journey. We can make this world a better place. We can move on from tragedy. Adversity will visit us, evil will visit us, but we will overcome. We can and will endure. Karen and I express our gratitude to Your Honor and to the prosecution team for allowing us the opportunity to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your courage, and I am so sorry for your loss. God bless you.
Your Honor.
Maddie's mom locked eyes with BK during that statement.
With you. Yeah, is your release.
Your Honor, this is Leander James. He's the attorney for the Mogen family and victim advocate. He'll be reading a statement for Karen Laramie.
May it please the court, counsel. My name is Leander James. I am the pro bono counsel for Karen and Scott Laramie. Karen has asked me to read this statement into the record. I thank my husband, Scott, for his statement, his courage, and his unending love and support during this dark time. While words are inadequate to capture the impact of this horrific crime in our family, he expressed it as best anyone could. For Maddie's sake, I will add my supplement statement that incorporates additional impact in the context of my extended family. I am grateful to Maddie's great uncle, Bryan Caulfield, for assisting me with the difficult task of putting our pain into words. For me and my extended family, Maddie was our hope and our light. Her beauty, both outside and in, shone its light upon everyone with whom she came in contact. Her beauty, she carried that hope and light into the future for our entire family. We have memories of our Maddie and grief and pain at her being taken from our presence. Any one of us would have given our own light to have been outshone by hers. We now look to our Creator to know that her light continues where we look to see her in His presence. Those who commit evil for their own twisted gains and purposes truly defile the efforts and sacrifices of mothers, fathers, families, teachers, clergy, public servants, service members, and all those who commit themselves to the greater good, freedoms, and the future light of our nation. Condemnation falls heavily upon those who squandered the lives of our future hopes and dreams. Some may offer forgiveness for what the defendant has done. However, we cannot at this time, or perhaps ever, nor will we ask for mercy for what he has done. His acts are too heinous. The agony and grief he has caused, too great. But we will waste no further words or thoughts on him. For Maddie's sake, we will move on. We will do our best to carry Maddie's light into this world and make it a better place. I thank the court and the prosecution for allowing me the opportunity to make my statement. And I thank all those who have and will support my family and the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Laramie. Appreciate it.
Mrs. Laramie had stood up there to support her husband and then had her lawyer read her own letter. Welcome, Julie Bean. One's awesome. Thank you very much.
Next is Ben Mogen, the father of Maddie Mogen.
Yes, of course.
Actually, Your Honor, it'll be Kim Cheeley, the grandmother of Maddie Mogen.
My name is Kim Cheeley. I was Maddie Mogen's paternal grandmother, as Ben Mogen, her father, is my son. I'm here today with my sister Lori Cheeley, Maddie's great aunt, and my son Ben Mogen, and my daughter-in-law Corey Hatrock. I'd like to begin by thanking a number of people involved in bringing this case to closure. In my daughter's words, the plea deal the prosecution team reached this month is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these kids the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, the years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. My family and I are so grateful to Bill Thompson and his prosecution team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. We want to thank the Idaho State Police, the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, Judge Hippler. We'd also like to thank the University of Idaho officials who've treated the families of the victims with such dignity and kindness, and who have honored the 4 victims beautifully. Maddie was my first grandchild, so when she was born, all her grandparents had the distinct pleasure of deciding what we'd like to be called. I chose Nana, pretty original. But when Maddie was about 1.5 years old, her papa, Ben's dad, and I were planning to visit the new little family in Oregon. Maddie didn't have an extensive vocabulary at the time, but for some unknown reason, she called bananas ba-deedle-deedles. When Karen and Ben told her Nana was coming to visit, she figured, I say deedle-deedle for that word. So I became deedle-deedle, shortened to Deedle when she was about 6 or 7, and I was Deedle all her life. I don't think her stepdad, Scotty, ever knew my given name was Kim. Maddie's and my birthdays were 1 day apart, and a couple years before she was killed, she gave me this necklace with Deedle and Maddie engraved on it, and I added an angel wing, and it's one of my treasured possessions. I also got an angel wing tattoo, never thought I'd see the day, but along with many members of our family, replicating the one that Maddie and her sorority sisters had. I wanted mine where I could see and touch it often. From preschool through grade school, I stopped teaching piano lessons early on Wednesdays and picked Maddie up for bubble baths, brownies, and books. It was our special time together. And she went home those nights in her jammies with a pan of warm brownies for her family. Although Karen and Scotty raised Maddie and did such a lovely job of parenting, we Mogens were lucky to have her for holidays and many other family gatherings. We'll always have our treasured memories of Maddie growing up in our big, extended, cooperative family. And I thank Karen and Scotty Laramie for being so generous and open and sharing Maddie with her Mogen side of the family. When the 4 kids were murdered, the foundation fell out of our world. Initially, the fear was truly debilitating. The first 6 weeks were excruciating. Despite the vigils, memorials, candlelight gatherings of students, friends, family, community members. After the arrest, in the past 2.5 years, my family has lived with grief, with the effects of traumatic grief, of which I was blissfully unaware before all of this. I now have a stack of books on grief. I've attended grief classes at hospice. I've tried EMDR, a technique that helps replace disturbing visions with something more comforting. My son Ben, his 2 sisters, Maddie's aunts, and I have all experienced depression and anxiety and sleep disturbance, requiring medical intervention at times. We've all sought counseling off and on. The struggle with media attention was extremely difficult, especially for Ben. No one should live through the violent murder of one's child. Some days it's beyond me how the parents of these kids are still upright. I'm thankful for the strong families and communities that are supporting the survivors. At the time, I could think of only 2 blessings surrounding the horrific murders. One was that Ben was living with my partner Tom and me at the time, and that we could support each other emotionally through it all. Sadly, Tom died a year ago of a rare brain cancer, and he won't be here to see justice served. He was our family's rock, and we all miss him every day. A second blessing is that my mother died of COVID several months before the kids were killed, and she didn't have to live through the horror. It was difficult to identify blessings. So we've all lost our dear child and a future with her. I ache for the loss of the dreams that she and her true love, Jake, held. And my heart goes out to Karen and Scotty and your side of Maddie's family. You've had more than your share of loss. My heart aches for the kids' roommates and the families of the other victims, and also the family of the perpetrator. Going forward, we Mogens are choosing to put our energy and focus into honoring Maddie's too short life and sweet spirit by celebrating Maddie May Day, which my two daughters established. On May 25th each year, Maddie's birthday, we encourage folks to do random acts of kindness in Maddie's name. In my daughter Katie's words, may we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community, and focus on joy. Please do an act in kindness in Maddie's honor during this week, so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate your courage, and bless you and your family.
Thank you.
Now it's Ben Mogen, Maddie Mogen's father.
I'm Benjamin Mogen. I'm Maddie's dad. And first I just want to say thanks to all the people that helped bring this all to a close. I know it's not the resolution that everyone, wanted, but I think that that everyone worked so hard, and we really appreciate all their efforts. It was such a hard thing to go through for everybody. Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She's the only great thing I ever really did, and the only thing I was really ever proud of. And I thought we would have the rest of our lives together to be together and to know each other, and I took for granted the times, she was in college, and I thought, oh, well, we'll have the rest of our lives to do all the stuff that we're supposed to do, and she was just about done. She actually earned all of her credits for her college degree, and Karen and Scotty and I got to go and get her diploma that she actually earned, and she served every bit of that. And but I thought that was going to be just the beginning of a long life together, and we never got that. Karen and Scotty did such a great job raising her after Karen and I split up, and I'm so thankful for Scotty and the role that he played in her life when I wasn't able to. But we got to spend a lot of great times together, Maddie and I. She was my favorite person to go to a concert with. We got to see some fun shows together, and I told her, if there's ever a show that you want to go to, let me know, and I'll get you tickets for you and your friend, or if we want to go together, we'll make it happen. And my favorite memory with her was when the Mac Miller show sold out here in Spokane, and everyone wanted tickets, no one could get them, and on the last day before the show, they did a radio thing, and I got 4 meet and greet tickets for Maddie and her friends and me to go and see the show, and that was her favorite artist at the time, was Mac Miller, and he's gone now too, and my little cousin Zach drove us all there that night, and he's gone too, tragically, and anyway, the last thing that she ever wrote to me was this Father's Day card, and I'm so glad I still have it. I'm just gonna read what she said. It says, "Happy Father's Day. I hope you have the best day. I can't wait till we can hang out again soon. I'll be in Coeur d'Alene, 6:24 to 7:4. Hopefully we can find a time then. I love your birthday card that you sent me, by the way. Maybe we can see a concert sometime soon. I'd love to see the gorge when it's not so smoky out. I hope you're doing well. I'm proud of how far you've come. Thank you for always encouraging me to do my best. Love you lots and lots. Love, Maddie May." She did encourage me to not just to do my best, but to live on. I went through a lot of issues with addiction and with substance abuse, and when I wasn't wanting to live anymore, she was what would keep me from just not caring anymore, and knowing that she was out there and that she was just such a beautiful person kept me alive a lot of rough moments, and I'm so glad that she was able to meet Jake. He was the only one that actually ever got to take her to the gorge. They went and saw Watershed together, and they had a heck of a time. I'm glad she got to. That's a really special place for me, and she always wanted to work out there with me in the summer sometime. She never got to, but at least she got to see it once with Jake. He was such a great guy. He is such a great guy. And I really wanted to see what a future with them would have looked like. I'll never be able to replace her. I wrote a bunch of stuff. I just don't know what to say right now. I just miss her so much, and I just love her more than anything. And it shouldn't have happened. And a death sentence is one thing. You know when it's going to happen, and it's going to be all gentle and stuff. But a life without parole, with a building full of people that all just want you to not be around anymore, and winking at every morning, not knowing if that's the day they're going to pull your card. I mean, it's not a very nice sentence either. So, I don't know. I just love you, Maddie, and I wish you were still here.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, next would be members from the Kaylee Goncalves family. First will be her father, Steve Gonzalez.
Today, we are here to finish what you started.
Turn to the podium.
Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around and looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told them, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke. But we took this disaster and we did what we could. We put everything online. We took our kids, we took our images, we took everything that they did, their videos, their photos, the girls' pranks, Ethan singing. We put it out there, we shared it with the world. And the world united. And all they ended up, when they talked about this case, is they talked about Kaylee Jade, Maddie Mae, Xana, and Ethan. Everything what these people meant to us, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, we shared that with our community. Then we shared it with our state. We shared it with the country, and eventually we shared it with the world. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we've all started. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to the pen. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with, God bless all the men and women that worked on this case and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you.
Your Honor, next is Stephen Gonzalez, Kaylee's brother.
Stephen's actually gonna pass. I'm gonna go. Okay.
Olivia Gonzalez, Kaylee's sister.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Goncalves, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogen as a sister too. I'm not here today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them, and not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across. What would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are. Sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th?
They might object here soon.
Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Next is Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee Goncalves' mother.
The podium has been moved out of position. It needs to be pushed back so that people can be seen. But wow.
Thank you, Your Honor. I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee Jade Gonzalez, you didn't just take her life, you shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, the way I view the world, people, safety, trust. It's all been changed by your cruelty. I no longer recognize parts of myself. Joy is harder to find. Laughter feels foreign. The world moves forward, but I'm suspended in a place of sorrow and rage. You've taken from me something that can never be restored. The grief sits with me every day, some days quietly, and other days so loud it drowns out everything else. The emotional toll you've inflicted on me is immeasurable. I live with a constant ache, with birthdays that are now memorials, with holidays that feel hollow, with empty chairs that scream louder than words ever could. I am forever changed. But for you, as a person working on a Ph.D. in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction. All because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a jester hat to complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. See, you haven't beat the system. You've simply entered a new one, where the rules are cruel and the consequences will never end. You are entering a place where no one will care who you are and no one will ever respect you. You will be forgotten, discarded, used, and erased. You will always be remembered as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting. Quick message from our youngest daughter. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
Thank you.
Judge says thank you, doesn't know what she just said. I cannot
Do we
believe
have
they're
more
allowing
from the
this.
Gonzalez family, or are you?
Yes. Next would be Shannon Gray, the Gonzalez family attorney. He'll be reading statements from Kaylee Goncalves' grandmothers.
Probably a more traditional statement here.
Morning, Your Honor. Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Gonzalez family. I actually have 3 statements, one from her aunt and 2 from her grandparents. This is from her aunt, Tammy Butts. You, in the cloak of darkness, made a decision to turn our whole family's world upside down forever. You, in the cloak of darkness, took our Kaylee J. Gonzalez away from us all without hesitation. Never have you shown any remorse or regret. We just get creepy, non-expressive stares as you have your team of women defend you. Kaylee was a strong, kind, fun-loving, caring person, and she will greatly be missed by all her family and friends for the rest of our lives. She had goals in life that you took from her and us. We lose on watching her enjoying her life, working hard and building the future she wanted. She was ready to start that after college life. You, in the cloak of darkness, took it all away. You left us without her future wedding, her future children that she would have added to our family. No more talking to her on the phone, going for a coffee, celebrating holidays. It's all gone. You, in the cloak of darkness, gave each and every one of Kaylee's family members their own lifetime sentence. You, in the cloak of darkness, also took our Maddie Mae from all of us. She was so genuine, caring, polite. She was part of our family. You came in, harmed our children that were younger women than you in their own beds. You're nothing, you're a coward. It's not right that you have received life. I pray that you meet your end in the cloak of darkness, burn in hell. I have 2 other statements, Your Honor.
Wow.
This is Linda Lucan's statement. This is Kaylee's grandmother. I really don't know how to address something so inhumane, but I will try. Nothing in the past 2.5 years has made any sense. All I get is you cowardly went into a home at night, filled with what I'm sure you thought was all sleeping girls, and went on a vicious killing spree for no other reason but to appease your demonic urges. You took my granddaughter Kaylee from us, plus 3 other beautiful lives. You took my granddaughter Kaylee, beautiful, sweet-souled, doll-faced Kaylee, who was getting ready to start her amazing life, who had such a bright future, who was loved by so many, who you were so envious of. She had a life you could never have. You are so beyond human. You're definitely a demon from hell. I truly wish your punishment would be the same death you inflicted on our kids. But I think you will meet some new friends in prison who will be there just to help you. Thumbs up. And I have one last statement, Your Honor. This is from Cheryl Gonzalez, Kaylee's other grandmother. John 1:5 says, light shines in the darkness, and the darkness overcomes it not. Somewhere in your life, some jealousy, envy, ego, something went dark. It pushed out all light until you became dark and evil. And when you saw my granddaughter and her friends, their light, because they have such a light, you couldn't stand it. Because the darkness in you could not stand the light in them. and so you decided to destroy it. Cowardly, you walked into their rooms in the dark and took their lives, hoping to get rid of your darkness. But you didn't. You failed. Because you know what was once a light shown only to their friends, families, and loved ones is now all over the world. Everyone sees it. Their smile, their beauty, their plans, everything they were and had. And you think you put a close to it, even that, but you didn't. Because they still exist. They are still light. They are still beautiful. You can never take that away. They will always be in the light of all eternity. And you will be in the darkness because you could not overcome it. You failed. I want you to be gone, more than gone. I want you to be cast out. Cast out from my life, from my family, from this earth. I will not allow your hatred to penetrate into my own soul. You did not get that power. You are evil, and in the end, evil is eradicated. You didn't take Kaylee's light, you spread it into the world. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Are you moving to a different family now? All right, why don't we take a 10-minute recess? All right.
Judge calls a break right here, a 10-minute recess. We have seen two of the most extremes. Nearly two of the most extremes. The most extreme I've seen on the amazingly, I can't believe that a family could have that big of a heart is people who've been able to forgive a defendant in their statement. We haven't seen that yet, but we have seen unbelievable kindness with families who are saying, we're not going to let this tear us apart and eat us up. We're going to spread light. We're encouraging other people to do service. Maddie Mayday, just do a random act of kindness in her memory. Just absolutely just incredible that these families can do this. We've also seen a lot of anger at the defendant. Just heads up wise, I said before, I'm surprised they haven't objected. The Idaho rules for victim impact statements do not allow commentary about the defendant. The judge has not put a stop to it, probably because the defense has not objected, and there could be a couple of reasons here. First of all, there is no spectrum as far as sentences involved. There's only one outcome here, and so anything that is said could not sway the judge one way or another as far as the verdict, as far as the sentence. And so it, in a way, doesn't matter what is said, if it's allowed or not allowed at this point, because the outcome is already predetermined. That could be why they're not objecting. But a couple things aren't allowed that are going on. First of all, the clapping in court. I've never seen a judge allow that. Even when you think the judge probably wants to clap as well, they don't allow that. And second, the direct commentary at the defendant is usually not allowed. And Idaho does this a little different. Many places the defendant sits but is not directly in the line of sight of the individual giving the victim impact statement. In this case, the last couple impact statements, they actually had the podium turned to face him and addressed him directly, as did some of the others throughout the statement. But just a range of responses as these families are grieving, going through the grieving process, and the response they've had to this situation being thrust upon them. I think there's sort of like a mutual frustration at the media and what that causes. But the Big D situation was that's probably the furthest I've ever seen that line of thinking of the jailhouse justice thinking be presented in an impact statement and be allowed by the judge. But very eloquent speakers as well as those who are speaking off the cuff. Maddie's dad, a biological dad, got up there with papers and read little of it, kept most of it closed. I read the card, but basically just spoke from the heart. And I talk about just, a tearjerker as he's was in her life, but as her biological dad, she was raised by her stepdad and her mother, biological mother. And sorry, it could have been law. CBS owes me a few bucks because this reporter doesn't write fast, and I have to give him the names. Just hearing him say, I've made a lot of mistakes in life, and Maddie was the one thing I was proud of, and now she's gone. Just unbelievable, the strength that they're able to share that. I'm sorry, I've got a spam call. I'm not taking that right now. We're waiting. The clapping. Bryan Kohberger turned to see everyone clapping. Got some of these comments, but we have a few more victim impact statements. This is all we'll hear. We have heard a few things that were not really well known prior to today, basically prior to the lifting of the gag order, and there was a second weapon used. And hearing that from the family, asking what was it? What was the weapon? Where's the knife? Just wow. Goodman Law, who's there observing for us, says, so when I get home, I'm going to work on my next video. I'm going to go over what rights you have against a certain profession. Will his parents be able to speak? Alyssa, I don't know if there will be their comment. It's my understanding that his parents are not present. They were there for the plea deal, I believe. They had flights and got there for him to plead guilty, but it's my understanding they're not present today. A lot more details are going to come out. A lot more details about this are going to come out. And the family, there's a lot the family doesn't know. I mean, you heard the questions. Was it Kaylee's sister that was asking the questions about all the things we want to know? Some of those things law enforcement has some information about. Some of them they have evidence about, and that may be in the sealed documents. Those sealed documents are going to be reviewed probably as soon within the 30, 60, 90-day range. We're going to start seeing those come out, and the judge is going to review them, check to see both prosecution and defense what needs to be redacted, if anything, if there's juvenile names, birthdays, things like that just doesn't need to be out there in public, and then basically go through the process of unsealing everything that should be unsealed. That was the only purpose of sealing it, was to preserve the defendant's right to a fair trial, to not taint the jury and things like that. All that's going to come out over time as the judge works on that. But it is still live. It is not over. If you just came in, we have a little bit more. Have a little bit more of this going forward. Victim impact statements will pretty much be the total sum of it, but we do expect that the judge will basically be ungagged as well, right? His hands are loosed in this moment, where as the judge of this, he sort of had to be an impartial referee leading up to this moment. Once the sentence is imposed, he gets to say his bit. And speak directly to Bryan Kohberger. And in that, I think he's going to be addressing the families. He's going to be addressing the prosecutor. He'll probably address the defense, and thanking them for the professional job they've done. But he gets his say as well, sort of like the last impact statement from the court's perspective. We expect that as well, because the sentencing should happen today. There's no reason it should not. The defense has not asked for a pre-sentence investigation, which was one of those, observe for 30, 60, 90 days. Is there any reason why it's one sentence, life without parole? It's going to happen. That's where we're going. Pantoufle, Olivia's takedown probably harder than death penalty for him. That was brutal. That was surgical, as somebody said. That was absolutely It was cutting. It was biting. It was, I think, accurate in many areas. We've watched Bryan Kohberger's like shift almost involuntarily as these verbal assaults are thrown at him, and some of them strike home, and some of them hit. And I think he's not able to maintain this flat affect that he's done previously in other hearings through some of this, because it is hit pretty hard. But let's see. He was most uncomfortable with her victim impact statement. She's powerful. She's a female. She's powerful. We've had a couple people mention, that he targeted what he thought was a house full of females. That he thought that, he could be stronger than them and they were weaker, and then they pointed out that here you are, you've got women defending you. You're actually weak, is what they're saying. You're actually weak. Now, I'm not saying the women aren't strong by saying that. They're just trying to point out that, he's a fraud to himself. He's lying to himself. But yeah, Big Sister, absolutely. What a powerhouse of a big sister. Whoever said surgical, yes, that was, and it was thorough too. This was, wow. All right. I liked hearing Olivia's statement. It says, Dr. Bullbutter, amazing, just so good. Is she going to be an attorney? She is so great. I don't know what she's going into or what she's in right now. They bring in a whole stack of new tissue boxes. I got some napkins. That's my that's my best. Thank you very much. Wannabe rapper. Where was that? Did we look at that before and it was just so insignificant that we just passed over it? I did not know that he was a wannabe rapper at some point. Her last statement, her last statement was, if you hadn't attacked them in the middle of the night like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your butt. Only she used more words. This case is really worldwide. The top story on the UK and the BBC News and Sky News. It is worldwide. It is, and it's going to get more exposure because of these victim impact statements, which are amazing in both the raw emotion, the sincerity, the love, the united front. There are so many aspects of this crime that has brought about good that's just incredible. This is the sort of story that should be told instead of some of the junk the news puts out. Just read about his raps in the new book. Yeah. He had some rap he wrote on SoundCloud. What is the difference between these statements and the court revised statements allowed in the Shelby case? Oh my goodness, look at the contrast. In Shelby's case, they're saying, I don't know, she mentions that her dad isn't alive anymore, so we have to strike that because her dad died of natural causes. She shouldn't get extra sympathy for this. There was no proofing. There was no editing. There was no redacting in these victim impact statements. These are raw and unfiltered. And we're getting every... I don't know why they would at this point choose to filter any going forward, because we pretty much heard about the worst you can, aside from... I mean, the only way it can get more severe is having a victim impact statement person try to attack the defendant, which we've seen in other courts, but not here, thankfully. My eyes have been sweaty. My nose has been sweaty too. Some of this is just heart-wrenching to watch. What about the heroin? The heroin, I didn't know the drugs were a part of that. Oh, wow. Will Bryan Kohberger make a statement? I don't know. I believe he will be afforded the opportunity to. I don't anticipate, if he does, that anything he says will bring any sort of satisfaction or peace or closure to the families. I don't believe that even if he did apologize, it would be something that would be readily accepted and embraced by any of the families, even those who are seeking for ongoing sort of like, peace in their lives regarding this incident after all this trauma, and are looking for, to become whole in whatever way they can moving forward. That's crazy. Let's see. There was an insinuation that the attack might have been motivated for some sort of other purpose, especially when we heard there was another weapon. We've heard, I believe it was Maddie, that may have been gagged at one point. Oh, thank you. I got actual tissues. You can have the dollar store napkins back. I got a box of tissues. There's a lot there that might come out, but the police going into this have never alleged that there was any other aspect there. So I'm not sure. Let's see. I've heard his mom and sister were there in court today. They are. I thought the parents were not present. Okay, Dad's not present. Mom and sister are in the courtroom. They could give victim impact statements. The family on both sides, and they are also under the law. They are also victims. They can give statements, but let's see. Steve said Kayla was gagged. It was either Kayla or Maddie. I have not seen the information about when that happened or how. Okay. I did hear, was it the grandma? Was it Kaylee's grandma or Maddie's grandma that expressed her condolences to BK's family, knowing that they're also going through something terrible right now. All right. Kaylee had bruising around her mouth like she was gagged. Okay, that came from Kaylee's dad. More information is, I'm sure, going to come out as things get unsealed. A hand had gagged Kaylee's mouth. Means she was alive and alert when she was killed. I've got a couple direct messages. Let me check. Brian Enton says his mom and sister are here, not sure about the dad. Ethan Chapin's mom is not planning on attending the sentencing. The Chapins might not be there, so one family not represented. I believe they're the family that strongly disagrees, if I'm correct, with the outcome with this plea deal. Let's see. No, Cruz was another one where victim impact statements were wild. I can't remember her name. The girl with black hair that wore the shirt.
Be seated.
She dropped the bomb too.
All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle, and first would be Jasmine Kernodle, Xana's sister.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in this and just
for all the hard work and dedication you guys have put into this. I also want to thank everyone for the support and just my family and friends who've been around through this time. I went back and forth on whether to speak today because the truth is, you don't deserve power over my feelings, my words, or me.
Thank you. In the end, I realized this moment isn't about you. It's about justice for Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie. It's about honoring the beautiful people they were and still are in God's eyes. On November 13th, 2022, a piece of my heart was ripped away. There's no way to ever fully describe the weight of losing my sister, my best friend. No sentence or punishment will ever come close to the justice Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie deserve. Xana was everyone's best friend. She was kind, she was funny. She was a gift to each person she was able to make an impact on. Xana was someone I turned to when I needed direction or advice. Although I am her older sister, I often found myself looking up to her. She had a radiant energy that everyone loved, and she always knew the right way to approach a problem. She knew how precious and special life was, and she truly did live every day to the fullest. Yet her story was cut short by an act of evil. I believe in a God whose justice is not bound by this courtroom. I find peace knowing that judgment ultimately belongs to him. For your sake, I hope one day you feel the full weight of what you did. I hope you take accountability. I hope you truly experience the guilt and you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ. Because no punishment on this earth can ever compare to the isolation and pain of eternal separation from God. Xana deserved more. They all did. But I come here to say this. I am strong. I am brave. I'm a fighter, just like Xana. And you don't get to control how I move forward or what I believe. I walk with the comfort of knowing I will see my sister again. Xana didn't get the future she deserved. She won't be the maid of honor at my wedding, the cool aunt to my future children. I'll never hear her laugh or see her light up a room ever again. But I will carry her with me for the rest of my life. I will live in her honor, fight to be the best kind of woman and someone she's proud of, to make sure the world never forgets who she was. Xana's story doesn't end with what was taken from her. It lives through the love she gave, the people she touched, and the legacy our family will protect. Her light still shines, and her voice will echo louder than this pain. You didn't take that from us, and you never will.
Thank you.
I just want to say before I start, I'm Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodal. It's been a hard road down, you know, because she's gone. And I want to thank everybody, other families that speaking so far, spoke about things. I agree with everything they have to say. It all comes back to a lot of the same things that I've had to deal with and we as a family have had to deal with. And that brings me, you know, the basis of what I'm talking about a little bit is on my way up here, flying up here in the plane, and about halfway through the flight, this little girl is calling out for her dad. Hey, dad, and then in my mind, I was kind of half asleep. It's dark on the plane. I heard Xana calling out for me like she did, you know, back when she was little, 5 years old. And those times were hard. It was chaotic, but we always had something to work toward that was in a positive direction compared to right now, which is necessarily not as positive as that for sure. I I know not, I miss Xana a lot. My life's been changed, and Xana had a great impact on me, and the impact was when she was gone. I realized how important she was, and what she really did for me, influenced me, was way beyond what I ever thought. She'd call me up on the weekends, check on me, see who's with me. She's like accountability to your youngest daughter. And that really made a big difference. It made me really think about things and what it's all about, you know? That's the things that I miss the most, is those calls on the weekends, the calls at 11 at night. What's going on? You want to meet my friend? You know, whoever she's with, a couple of her friends, I can meet them, talk to them. And she always did that. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really miss that. And she made a big impact on me, on other people, her family. But the impact that she made is so extensive on what happened here. And it goes so far. People from everywhere in the world, you know, are following things, and Xana has made a difference in their lives. So, you know, countless people told me that. They might not even know her. They never knew anything about her. It's what they see, and they just love her and say how they wish she could have been their friend. You know, could have been their friend, could have hung out, and it's like, this is a blessing, you know. This is who the little kid was, and definitely was a big blessing in my life, and so is Jasmine, and basically, you know, we worked hard to do the things we did, you know, through the times they were growing up, and through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college, and that'd be the ultimate thing for them to do to prepare for the world. Then it came back to me, Xana didn't get to finish college. He had it all figured out. And this all came back to me when I was there, and that little girl was on the plane doing that. It's like where I was going, what I was going here for. And then I just realized and thought to myself about the wonderful life that she had and we had together. And we, you know, I still get to have with Jasmine, but that's the part that really counted. It's the part that really counted, is those memories. And those are what I have left, the memories with her and the ones I can make with her, and the life that I can go on with now, which is what she wants. And I say that in present tense because that's what she wants, because I've been told that, you know. I've been countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to say that the impact of what happened to them, all 4 kids, goes so much further than just not me, the parents, the families, the community. It goes so far because a lot of kids, you know, in the colleges, just for an example, they locked their doors now. The door wasn't locked in the back. You know, at Penn State or wherever it was, all the colleges, I know that I've heard, they all lock their doors now. So maybe the impact that it's gonna make is gonna help out and maybe protect some people. Having this outreach and having the influence of what these kids, what happened to these kids did, you know? All I know is I was 7 miles away when it happened, and she wasn't feeling that good. It was 11:30, and I almost went over to Susanna's to say, and I would have been sitting right there on that couch, and you had to deal with me. So they would have had a chance, and I regret that, and I regret not going. But the reason why I didn't is because Xana said, "Don't be drinking and driving." got the rental car, don't be drinking and driving, the week before that. So she was, she would have been mad at me to do that. But I really wish I would have drunk and drove, because they would have had a chance, all four of them. At this point, I just have to go on. We're gonna go on with everything and make things better in my life, because that's what it's all about. I have closure in things, and the part that we miss is Xana, her influence, her smile, the things that she did, and we have the memories left, the great memories, and she just wants us to make more memories and not be sad or upset or shocked or taken for that, and that's what we're gonna do. We just have to. That's all I got.
Thank you for your words and your courage, and bless your family.
Next, Kim Kernodle would like to address the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Kim Kernodle. I am Xana's aunt. I was very blessed to have her in my life, in our family. And I thought I had everything in my head, what I wanted to say, but it kind of went out. And I'm always looking for the positive thing, because evil, hate, can destroy people. And that's what it started doing with our family. It created anger with our family members. And then I had to look, because Xana was everything that the media, her friends said. She was that fun, loving, high-spirited, beautiful person. And I no longer get to get my nails done with her, have lunch with her. Sorry. But how I look at it now is this tragedy, this horrible tragedy on all of the 4 children, has brought us closer. You united us with your actions. We're united now, and we're stronger than ever. We have family and friends now that we never knew we had. And, this is probably going to bother everybody, but Bryan, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you, because I no longer could live with that hate in my heart. And for me to become a better person, I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here, no judgment, because I do have answers or questions that I want you to answer. And I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you, okay? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
My name is Stratton Kernodle, and I'm Xana's uncle, Jeff's brother. Sitting here today listening to the stories and feelings and feeling the pain from everybody is a pretty powerful thing. It's each time a statement was read, it sort of would tug into my center core as I felt everybody's anguish. And Xana meant a lot to us, and we loved her very much. But I started thinking about, instead of rehashing everything that everybody else has talked about, I wanted to direct it another direction, toward Bryan and what he's done to his family, his parents, his siblings, his friends, his universe. He has contaminated, tainted their family name, and pretty much made a horrible, miserable thing to be ever related to him. And I know that that's what he has to live with, and that has to be his pain. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, I believe Randy Davis, stepfather to Xana Kernodle, would like to address the court.
Hi, my name's Randy, stepdad of Xana. I just feel the same way we all do. All of us are united because of something that happened.
He's turned around
and
talking to the
I'm grateful
families.
to know and have met some new family because of this awful event. But this is probably the last time we're all going to be in the same room together, let's be real. So I can say, I love you all, and I feel your pain. And just God bless us all, you know? Just get through it. I had stuff wrote up. It was probably best I didn't read it out. Probably get kicked out of here, so. You know, I'll share one thing to you guys, not to you, with Xana. So I was working in North Dakota and came home, and Jazzy and Xana had taken our son Elijah and put him in a dress, makeup, and it was awful, you know. I was like, I don't know. She was funny. I told her she'd be in the movies and be somebody great one day like that. And now she is just above us as an angel with all the other beautiful kids. So let's hold that to our hearts, because this evil thing is not going to take nothing from us. You, man, I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude. I am struggling, so I want to just be out in the woods with you just so I can teach you about loss and pain. I love God. I wouldn't take your life. That's up to him. But I guarantee you, you are weak. God, I would just give a moment, man, 5 minutes out in the woods. Oh, man. Ooh. You're going to go to hell. I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are going to suffer, man. I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Bailiffs at the ready.
Next is Kara Northington, Xana's mother.
Bailiff is not happy. The bailiff is now moving up. They've moved into position.
I'm Kara Northington. I am Xana Kernodle's mother. This letter is to you, really, but it's for my daughter, who was murdered by you. Today I stand before you, the man who is responsible for murdering my beautiful daughter, Xana Kernodle. My daughter was beautiful both inside and out. She possessed love for those around her and had a light so bright it will live on forever in our hearts. She brought joy and laughter to her friends, her family, and anyone in her presence. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, now has her in his loving arms in heaven, where she can never be harmed ever again for eternity. Because of her, I came to know my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because of her, many will come to Christ. It is Christ who lives in me that has given me the strength to forgive you. It was of no power of my own. In return, the Lord has filled me with joy, hope, and peace that surpasses all understanding. Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry or asking for this. This is only possible because he who lives in me is greater than any evil in this world. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I do not fear you or even let you rent space in my head anymore. This forgiveness has released me from any and all evil you have inflicted on me and my family. It has allowed me to let our Lord deal with you. You have accepted a deal that will prevent you from receiving the death penalty. Nothing man can do to you can ever compare to the wrath of God. Inevitably, you will stand before our Lord and will have to answer to him over the sins you have committed in murdering our children. I pray you come to the end of yourself before that day. Whether you like it or not, heaven is for real and so is hell. The innocent life of Xana that you stole from myself and my family, and the destruction of this, and the destruction it has caused. I am washing my hands of you and turning you over to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, whom vengeance belongs to. In closing, I want to read a passage from the Bible, Ephesians 6, King James Version. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and then in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, that ye may be able to stand in the evil day. I'm not going to share memories of Xana or any more of the goodness of her with you, because I do not want that to be in your head. I don't want it to be in your head. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve our good memories that we have. I do pray for you. I pray that you come to the end of yourself. I pray that before this life is over, that you ask our Lord and Savior in your heart and to forgive you. I do pray for that. But after today, I wash my hands of you, and you are no longer a thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe the state has any other victim impact statements.
Okay.
Right, state can argue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just as a housekeeping matter to start, there will be the issue of restitution. That is, the documentation is being gathered, and we ask the court would defer that for 30 days so we can present it in an orderly fashion and make sure it's comprehensive for everyone.
Any objection to leaving restitution open in 60 days? All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it's necessary and appropriate to share for everyone here, including the court, the background that brings us in front of Your Honor today for these proceedings.
Let's talk in a minute, show
As
you what's
the
on the
record
desk.
reflects, and as everybody in this courtroom knows, the
what
defendant
Bryan
has
Kohberger
pleaded
has next to
guilty to all 5 counts charged in the indictment. Under oath before Your Honor, he has admitted that the charges against him are true. He has reassured the court that he has not been coerced or threatened to make those admissions. And Your Honor did an extraordinary job in taking the pleas back on July 2nd. We appreciate the court's discipline and insight. The defendant has also waived appeal on the multitude of rulings from this court and Your Honor's predecessor in Latah County on dozens, literally dozens of motions seeking to dismiss the case, seeking to control or limit evidence, seeking to offer evidence that would not be appropriate. And we appreciate the court's consistent rulings based on the law, based on the facts. As Your Honor will recall, on June 18th, it's just really not that long ago, we appeared before this court for arguments on what became the defendant's final motions to this court. Motion where they wanted to offer evidence suggesting that other people were responsible for the defendant's actions, and the motion seeking essentially an indefinite continuance of the trial. It was readily apparent to all of us in the courtroom from Your Honor's comments that those motions were not going to be granted. So we returned to Moscow and continued with what we had been working on for months in preparation for trial. We had no qualms about going to trial if trial was what was necessary and appropriate. The following week after we were in court, we were approached by the defense with an inquiry about a possible plea. And I can tell the court this is the first suggestion ever that there was any consideration, because indeed, the defense had maintained from the beginning that Mr. Kohberger, the defendant, was factually innocent. It's clear that the reality of the evidence and the case that had been investigated and prepared and that we were ready to present in court became a reality. Our reaction, among other things, was to reach out to all the families. And in fact, later that week, on Thursday and Friday of that last week of June, we met with representatives by teams, virtual meetings, with representatives of all of the families. And we talked about the status of the case and the upcoming trial and things that related to the trial. And we also let them know that there had been an inquiry about whether there might be an offer for a plea. And we asked the family members for their thoughts and feelings. And they were candid. And they have been candid since, and we respect that. And we understand, recognize, and acknowledge that there was a difference of opinion among representatives of the different families. We understand that. One of the challenges of this case, one of the unique things about this case is we have multiple victims, each unique unto themselves, their families and friends unique unto themselves, and all of them entitled to their opinions, all of them entitled to their thoughts. Over the following weekend, our prosecution team, very skilled attorneys who were personally as well as professionally deeply invested in this case, met. And we talked, and the decision was reached. Well, to start with, were there to be any sort of plea offer or discussion, there's only one possibility. And that would be for the defendant to plead guilty straight up to all charges. There would be no bargaining about counts. There would be no bargaining about reduced sentences. And so we made the proposal to the defense that if the defendant was willing to plead guilty up front to all 5 counts as charged and waive appeal of the court's myriad decisions during the past 2.5+ years on all of these motions that would have consumed years, if not decades, of time in the future. By the end of the weekend, we were notified the defendant was prepared to plead guilty as charged and factually acknowledge his responsibility in court for these horrible crimes. Obviously, those discussions and negotiations were confidential. And as Your Honor noted, I believe that was necessarily so, because if the defendant had decided not to plead guilty, it would have been devastating to our jury pool for there to be public information that there had been consideration by either party to a plea resolution. And protecting the prospective integrity of the trial after so many years was paramount. So, the end of the weekend came. We notified the victims' families of what had occurred. I recognize and acknowledge personally, and I respect the fact that of these fine, suffering people here, not everybody agreed with the decision we make. I accept that. It's my responsibility in the end. I recognize that that's the duty of the office that I hold. So now, it is time for the judicial system to impose final judgment and close the door on this chapter of these tragedies. As the court is aware, by the agreement of the parties, it is the state's prayer. Perhaps have the Elmo police turned on.
Okay, what did that do to our boxes? Are we going to get this one?
Thank you. That on count 1, the felony burglary, that the court sentenced the defendant to the maximum period of 10 years fixed in the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. Then on count 2, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Madison Mogen. On count 3, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez. On count 4, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Xana Kernodle. On count 5, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Chapin. And the state further prays that these sentences be ordered to run consecutively, back to back, not at the same time, to recognize and respect the unique individuality of each of these beautiful young people whose lives were taken brutally and for no reason. And hopefully now, as we have heard earlier this morning, it is time to afford the families and the friends and the community and the state of Idaho and the nation and the world to move forward. We can't undo, and we can never undo, the horror of what occurred on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. For a long time, the presiding district judge in Latah County was John Stegner, who eventually became a member and a justice of the Idaho Supreme Court. And Justice Stegner often observed that even God cannot change the past. But everyone in this room has the ability to take themselves forward. And we want the judicial system to afford them the opportunity today to do that. From today forward, our memories should be focused on these innocent victims whose lives were taken, on their families, on their friends, on the community. The court has heard discussion, talk today, reminiscences today about a special family that our victims shared, not just their natural, legal, and biological families, not just their university family within their sororities, for example. But this family. This is the picture taken on November 12th, 2022, of the special family of 1122 King Road. And you can see all 6 of these dynamic, vibrant, loving, special, innocent faces taken together just across the street from their residence, and barely 12 hours before 4 of them would be brutally murdered in their sleep. They've been described consistently as being bright, caring, vivacious, with futures we can only imagine now. But they were, and they remain, a special family that I think we should all recognize and appreciate. So it's time to move forward. There have been a number of statements directed specifically at the defendant today. I have one last thought. After Your Honor imposes judgment and sentences the defendant to spend the rest of his life in prison, in other words, sentence the defendant to die in prison, he's going to stand up in the belly chains and leg irons that he's wearing today, and he's going to be escorted into the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. And the door will close behind him forever. That is the closure that we seek that all of these people, these loving friends and family deserve, so that we can move forward. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
It appears he has a crossword puzzle with a black heart.
All right, does the defense have evidence to present today?
No evidence.
Does defense wish to make argument today?
Runner, we do not wish to make arguments. Mr. Kohberger, along with his legal team, is prepared for the court to enter judgment.
Mr.
All right,
Kohberger
Mr.
is prepared
Kohberger,
to
you have an
an
opportunity to make a statement if you wish to. I take it you are declining.
I respectfully decline.
Well. Please.
I respectfully decline.
All right, let me start this morning by acknowledging and thanking those that have come here today in support of their loved ones. And I appreciate your courage and your strength. And I hope that you are able to move on as best as possible. Thank counsel for the professionalism that they've exhibited throughout this case. It has been my great honor to preside in this case and to help bring, to the extent possible, some resolution and hopefully justice to this case. During the quiet morning hours of November 13, 2022, a faceless coward breached the tranquility of 6 beautiful young people and senselessly slaughtered them, 4 of them. Who committed this unspeakable evil was unknown for several weeks, but due to the killer's incompetence and outstanding police work by numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, the person that slithered through that sliding glass door at 1122 King Road now stands before the world and this court unmasked. This unfathomable and senseless act of evil has caused immeasurable pain and loss. No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person. Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins. The loss this killer inflicted was not just the death of these people's children, siblings, grandchildren, as we've heard today. It has ripped a hole in their soul, destroying a special part of their very essence. Any person who is a parent defines themselves, foremost, as such. It is their existence and purpose of being. And it has been stolen from these parents. None of us have experienced the loss these victims have in the unspeakable way that they have. And therefore, none of us can, nor should we, question the way in which they have handled their loss. Whether that be in private mourning, removed as far as possible from this media circus, or in front of a camera demanding retribution with the loudest megaphone. I've listened intently to the stories and pain that have been shared today, with great awe at the courage and resilience of the surviving family members of those wonderful children. I've listened also to the surviving roommates, both in person and through their friends. And I can't think of how frankly, courageous they have been despite the hell that they have faced by uncaring people who have come up with all kinds of crazy theories about two kids simply being kids. The parents, siblings, and other family members who have spoken today are designated as victims in our legal system. But going forward, I hope that they can shed that label, as it gives too much power to the evil that condemned them to that role. They are and should be known as survivors, fighters, and foremost as witnesses to the tremendous lives of value and unbounded promise of these four young people. But those speaking today and those who did not speak, but who carry this same burden, this same loss, now carry forward the memories of these now perpetually young people, these forever children. These survivors carry the responsibility of ensuring that the voices of these children, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, are never forgotten, and the positive impacts that they have had on so many lives are never minimized, and that the love they shared, the light that they shined onto others is forever celebrated. As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know, and what we may never know is why. I share the desire expressed by others to understand the why, but upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power. The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the attention, and the power he appears to crave. Yet even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called reason would be dished out in enticing, self-serving, and aggrandizing, untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality. No conceivable reason could make any sense.
He looks down at the black heart on his desk.
And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration. I know there has been concern about him collaborating on books or movies or other media projects, and I truly hope that someone does not stoop to affording him this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks, royalties, or profits. While criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses, there should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye. The great Idaho jurist Edward Lodge was known for trying to find something positive about every person he ever sentenced. And with over a half a century as a trial judge, that was a lot of people. This was often challenging, and I recall in one case he said that the best he could come up with was the defendant had good penmanship. Truth be told, I'm unable to come up with anything redeeming about Mr. Kohberger because his grotesque acts of evil have buried and hidden anything that might have been good or intrinsically human about him. His actions have made him the worst of the worst. Even in pleading guilty, He is giving nothing hinting of remorse or redemption, nothing suggesting even a recognition or understanding, let alone regret for the pain that he has caused. And therefore, I will not attempt to speak about him further, other than to simply sentence him so that he is forever removed from civilized society. And accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Toohill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogen. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Goncalves, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, for the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility in execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you've waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal, and any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment,
42 days.
which will be entered shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire.
If you file that,
I ask
we could go back and give you the death penalty.
Media and public present to allow the families to be escorted out first before they leave. Again, thank you to everyone for your stories today. I am strengthened by them, and I am encouraged by your humanity and strength, and God bless you. We're adjourned.
Wow, that concludes the hearing, the sentencing hearing. Bryan Kohberger is now being remanded to custody. He will never again walk a free man. If there is at any time another court proceeding, it probably will be via Zoom from jail. It's the judge's remarks. We knew that he was going to have an opportunity to tell us how he really feels, which he did, and he didn't hold back. I want to show you one more time this. I think this is significant, and we might be able to go back and look at this a couple times. Let me go ahead and shut down Top Mark Media. Okay. Okay, I want to show you a replay really quickly, if I can just get the replay machine pulled up. There were two things I noticed. Bryan Kohberger, first of all, Bryan Kohberger's actions have been very subtle. His movements during all of this have been very, very controlled, very limited. There were two times I saw him shift, and they happened at the same point in a conversation, but with different people. And both of them had to do with any future children of the victims. Like you've taken away, their future kids. Both times he shifted, like something hit him. on that. We'll look at that. But first I want to look at this. We're going to zoom in next to him on the table. This appears to be a crossword puzzle with a black heart in it, and it's sitting with a pen next to it. He didn't work on this at all that we can see. I don't see anything beyond that. The crossword puzzle has a little bit of color to it, or appears to be from this angle, but a heart shape in the center of the crossword puzzle, taking up most of the space. And when the judge asked about the reason why this was committed, Bryan Kohberger looked down at the heart, looked up, looked down at the heart, and looked up again. Which is, I think he's trying to say something. I just, let me see if we can replay that really quickly. Let me get my replay machine going. Okay, we're getting set here. It's the same machine I was running the Top Mark Media on, so we've got to shut that down, bring this one in. All right, here's our live stream. All right. I'm going to set aside the tissues for now. Those were quite useful. So a couple things we want to point out here, if we can do it. Take me just a second to find the spot. Okay, get rid of that. I need a bigger mouse pad. It's so noisy. All right, here we go. On camera 7. Do you guys see that? No, you're still seeing 3. Take 7. There we go. All right, we're gonna jump around a little bit, and apologize. I'm gonna mute the sound or turn it down so we can hear. Just waiting for my keyboard to connect. The judge is giving his comments here. There we go. Okay, we're gonna spin it through. Here where he's at here.
Society. And accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards.
Oh, that's the end. We have to back up. Back up a little faster. Watching his eyes for movement here. He rocks a little bit in the chair, but
and thanking those that have come here today in support of their loved ones, and I appreciate your
this is the
courage
beginning of the judge's comments.
and your strength. And I hope that you are able to move on as best as possible. Thank counsel for the professionalism that they've exhibited throughout this case. Okay. Handled their loss. Pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder.
No, I passed it too far. Sorry, I was going way too fast.
For the first-degree murder.
I should have marked it when it happened, but the machine was being used for something else. Just blinking. His blink rate is interesting, but looking for the point where he says, "I wonder why he did it."
Might have been good or intrinsically human about him. His actions have made him the worst of the worst.
Okay, before this.
This was often challenging, and I read this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks, royalties.
Okay, it's just before this. We're getting close.
It's time that he be consigned to the.
Before this. There it is, right here. This is the moment. Okay. Okay, ready? Watch this.
Reason for these crimes.
The reason for these crimes.
Anything resembling rationality.
He looks down at the book. What the reasons for his crimes would approach anything regarding rationality. He looks up.
No conceivable reason could make any sense.
And looks back. Why? What is that about? He has no heart. His soul is black. What is he trying to say there? I will say that there's a couple other moments where he shifts, and I'll have to let me tag this one really quickly.
Not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality.
Looks at the heart.
No conceivable reason could make any sense.
Looks down at the heart again.
And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time...
So I'm going to dump that down to the timeline, and we'll go back and look at the other points where he had most recent timeline. There we go. Oops, sorry. Can't see anything now. At all. And now the other moments was when he shifted in his chair a little bit. It was a little easier to find. I'm scrolling fast. Okay, here's a moment. Ready? I think it's right here. Let's watch what happens here.
I believe in a God whose justice is not bound by this courtroom. I find peace knowing that judgment ultimately belongs to him. For your sake, I hope one day you feel the full weight of what you did. I hope you take accountability. I hope you truly experience the guilt and you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ. Because no punishment on this earth can ever compare to the isolation and pain of eternal separation from God. Xana deserved more.
Watch his elbows.
They all did. But I come here to say this. I am strong. I am brave. I'm a fighter, just like Xana. And you don't get to control how I move forward or what I believe. I walk with the comfort of knowing I will see my sister again. Xana didn't get the future she deserved.
Here it is, watch.
She won't be the maid of honor at my wedding, the cool aunt to my future children.
Future children.
I'll never hear her laugh.
He does that same thing at another point when someone talks about future children, or about the future of the victim. I think I heard it differently than it actually sounded that time, so maybe I'm completely off base on that one and wrong. But absolutely, probably one of the most incredible sentencing hearings we have ever witnessed right here, as far as just raw emotion, as far as how just like soul deep the comments were, just heart-wrenchingly, just pure feeling, just like opening their heart about how they feel, and some of the most eloquent and precise and surgically vicious, I guess I could use the word vicious, descriptions of BK, of what drives him, of how he is in his mind, or how he's perceived to be by the victims. We're waiting to see if we get word from any of our wonderful court followers who have obviously they're being held in court for a minute while the families are allowed to leave. I believe the families will give a press conference, which will be available on all the different media formats. Other than my own, we run into all sorts of issues with those. From a legal standpoint, family statements were incredible. I never heard them delivered such heartbreaking but justice-bearing way. Yes, And we got the full spectrum, almost with one even wanting to take him out in the woods. Just 5 minutes. You just need 5 minutes. All of it allowed by the judge. None of it objected to, which is good. Let's see. I think this is Denise. Give us a second here.
Call from
Denise.
Denise, our wonderful court watcher. Thank you very much. Wow.
Yeah, big wow.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, before that, there is a press conference. It's starting in probably about 35-ish minutes.
Yeah.
They said 45 when we were leaving the courtroom, and so we've been chatting and stuff like that. So we're downstairs. We're in that room waiting for the press conference to begin. I am very pleased with Steve Gonzalez's resistance to just knock that podium over and lunge.
It's a good thing it was there. It's a good thing it was there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm fighting everything in my body. Every part of me wants to come over here and teach you a little bit about pain and about loss and suffering.
Yeah. So those impact statements were incredible. The judge, exactly what I expected. Exactly what I expected and was excited for. On our way out, I don't know if y'all ever could see me. I was in the front row. Literally, there was his mother.
Red shirt, blue jacket.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We can see you on the screen right here. We're replaying a little bit. We could. It just cut off the top of your head, but we did see you. I did see you. You clapped a few times. So thank you for clapping for those of us that can't be there.
Oh, absolutely. That's his mother in the black.
Okay.
Second in on that row. His sister, third in. I'm not sure who the two gentlemen were. I'm not sure if I don't think either one of those was his dad.
So
they looked too old.
Front row, top. If you look, I'm not sure if you can see my screen or not, but
no, I can't.
Okay, so we saw you as the second person in, left to your
yes,
to
from
your
the
left.
window.
Okay, so to your left, you were watcher number 2 or person number 2 in line.
Yes, the lady sitting right next to the window next to me, she was number 1.
Okay.
Her name is Lauren Peterson. She's from NPR.
Okay.
And then it was me. And then there were 2 gentlemen. They were obviously family, but I don't know who.
Yeah. One of them, their phone went off during court. The bailiff was like, shut that off. I saw that.
Yes, he did. He told him to turn it off, completely off, and he did not do it.
Ooh. Did
not do it. I was so mad. But then the young lady was one of his sisters, and then the lady in the black was his mother.
Okay. We did not get to see them. Well, actually, the guy with the phone was the last person we could see from our vantage point. And then it looks like we didn't see anyone else until the aisle behind the prosecutors.
Okay.
So it cut off that whole section with his family.
When they brought him back in after the break, before the judge came back on the bench, I was still standing. I did not sit at all during that break.
Yeah.
I was leaned over and I was watching his mother, and she mouthed, "I love you," like that cadence.
Yeah.
And he smiled at her twice.
Yeah. This has got to be difficult for her, but
she sobbed through most of those victim impact statements.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure who she was sobbing for, but she was sobbing.
I imagine anyone with a soul was crying. The judge was crying. The prosecution was crying.
Yes. Yes.
Defense held their composure very well, but they were more stone-faced than Mr. Kohberger was throughout it.
And that was the other thing that I did as we were leaving. I don't know if they cut it off or if you heard the judge ask media and members of the public to allow the family to exit the courtroom first before we exited. And so they took a couple of minutes to exit. And then since I was in the first row, I just stayed along that front rail, and I got down to Mr. Thompson, and I said, "May I give you a hug?" And he said, "Excuse me?" And I said, "May I give you a hug?" And he got teary-eyed, and he said, "Of course," leaned down and hugged me and started crying and said, "Thank you."
He's taken a lot of heat in this one.
He has absolutely
jumped into the fire quite, from the get-go, handling this in the investigation, talking to the press, learning the ropes of that. And they did learn a lot from those first early days, making some mistakes and then, backtracking and things like that, handling the investigation all the way through through the change of venue, arguments, and everything. There's been just a whole lot that he's been through, and he feels, I think you can see from his statement that he feels the pain of the families. He's very aware of their wishes, knowing that he can't make all of them happy, and that some of them are pretty upset with him and the choice he made that he says, I live with. But we like to call him Prosecutor Santa Claus because he's got that beard. You know what he does at Christmas time, right? He wears the suits.
He reminds me of my father so much, who passed away at age 54 in 1999. He would be right about the same age that Mr. Thompson is. His facial features, his facial hair, his mannerisms remind me so much of my dad that it's just crazy. Yeah. I just imagine that is what my dad would look like if he were still here.
Yeah. Mr. Thompson got a lot of praise today. I was surprised we didn't hear any criticism in some of the comments. I know that's going to be coming. I think it's happening right now in some of the coverage that'll be on some of the other news channels. But the families are going to speak. There's going to be a press conference there. We're going to go to lunch and we'll let you watch that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in the room where the press conference is going to be. It's inside. They are not doing it outside.
Stephen Goncalves and brother Kaylee are doing it right now outside. So.
Oh, they're outside. Yeah. Okay. I will catch those later. I think this is going to be the prosecution.
Yeah.
Is going to do this press conference.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will have to catch those on replay.
Yep.
So,
Denise, thank you very much. Thanks for getting up and being at the courthouse at 8 p.m. last night to save your spot so you could get that view and see what you saw and experience that for us and share it with us. You've been absolutely wonderful court watcher. I appreciate you very much.
Well, I'm just sorry that you weren't here to see it yourself.
I'll be in Idaho next week, but I hear you.
Well, message me if you have time for a quick visit.
All right. I'm going to be at Bear Lake, so.
Oh, you're going to be, you're going to be too far away. You're not
west.
coming
South and east.
this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well,
I love you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Denise.
All of
Appreciate
you.
It. All right. We'll see you.
Bye.
I'm not sure if Nicole Goodman's going to be able to call. She was also a court watcher for us today. Welcome, Brandy Churchwell and 13th Jurors. Love you guys. How are y'all doing? Let's see. The press conference, we have issues with copyright strikes because it's handled differently. It's not a shared pool media like this is, where it's provided to everybody in the media at the same time. So, which side of Bear Lake? I think the bad one. I think we're on the bad side of Bear Lake. All I know is we've rented a Airbnbs in a gated community somewhere over there. So it's in Idaho. So Idaho side, which is north, but I'm not sure east or west. Are we going live again today? We are. After lunch, we're going to go back and return to the Shelby Neely sentencing hearing, which is still going on, and we're gonna jump back there and catch up where we left off from this morning's break. We had just a bit of a break for this. Let's see if Nicole is around. Let's see. Let me text her real quick and see if she's able to call in to give her vantage point on this. Camping? Oh, no. It's far from camping. This is like luxury resort. We'll be taking a break, and then we'll come back. I can make a portal if you want. Steve Gonzalez just stated that Kaylee was stabbed over 30 times in his presser outside the courthouse. Oh, my goodness. These are some of the facts that are going to be coming out. Whoa. You can understand their frustration with the prosecutor offering a deal in that situation. All right, I'm not hearing from Nicole, and she might be caught up in another news conference. We're gonna go to lunch, and I'll let you guys jump over to your favorite outlet to watch the news press conference. When we come back, we're going to have part 2, which is actually finishing up this morning, skipping lunch, and continuing with the Neely sentencing here, where also charged with killing 4 people, this time with a hammer instead of with a knife, but very similar. Other than that, not a lot of similarities, I should say. But all the victims were related to him. Go figure. All right. Thank you very much. This has been a tough one. Take a minute, get a drink of water, cry a little bit. This has been a hard one. I just personally, well, I mute the music for a second. I just personally like to express my condolences to the families here in this case. They have been through the ringer, and I just give props to the media that gives them space, allows them to speak when they want to speak, and leaves them alone so they can mourn and heal the way they want to. But thank you all. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe. We go live again in about an hour. We'll pick up with the Robert Neely hearing. New live stream. No portal yet. Let's all go watch the press conference, and we'll chat about it next. We'll see you. Bye.